The world that created the F-22, late 1970s, early 1980s. In the late 1970s, the United States Air Force faced a quiet but serious problem. The Cold War was still raging. The Soviet Union was developing new fighter aircraft such as the MiG-29 Fulcrum and Su-27 Flanker, planes that were faster, more maneuverable, and more lethal than anything the US had previously faced. Intelligence reports warned that future Soviet fighters would challenge America's air dominance. At that time, the US Air Force relied mainly on F-15 Eagle, air superiority, F-16 Fighting Falcon, multi-role, F-14 Tomcat, US Navy. While these aircraft were excellent, Air Force leadership understood a hard truth. Incremental upgrades would not be enough for the next generation of air combat. Radar technology was improving. Surface-to-air missile systems were becoming deadlier. Future wars would demand stealth, speed, and information dominance, not just raw power. In 1981, the U.S. Air Force formally began thinking about a replacement for the F-15. That replacement would not simply be better. It would need to change the rules of air combat. The Advanced Tactical Fighter, ATF, program begins, 1981 to 1985. In 1981, the U.S. Air Force launched the Advanced Tactical Fighter, ATF, program. The goal was clear but extremely ambitious. The new aircraft must defeat any enemy fighter before being detected, be nearly invisible to radar, stealth, fly supersonic without afterburners, supercruise, carry weapons internally, combine sensors into a single, clear picture for the pilot, outperform every known and projected enemy aircraft. At the time, no aircraft in the world had all of these features combined. This was not just an engineering challenge, it was a technological leap. The people and companies behind the dream. The U.S. Air Force invited major American aerospace companies to compete. Two main teams emerged. Team 1. Lockheed, later Lockheed Martin. Boeing. General Dynamics. Team 2. Northrop. McDonnell Douglas. Each team was asked to design a prototype aircraft. These prototypes would fly, not just exist on paper. The aircraft would be designated YF-22 Lockheed Team, YF-23 Northrop Team. Key human figures, not just companies. While thousands of engineers were involved, several individuals played crucial roles. Ben Rich, Lockheed Skunk Works legend. Though nearing retirement, his stealth philosophy heavily influenced the YF-22's design thinking. Paul Metz, chief test pilot, later became the pilot for the first production F-22 flight. USAF program managers and engineers. Many names remain classified or undocumented publicly, but they shaped requirements, tested systems, and rejected ideas that didn't meet combat reality. This was not a single inventor's aircraft. It was a national engineering effort. Designing the YF-22, how the shape was born. Designing the F-22 was unlike designing any previous fighter. Stealth comes first. Traditional fighters were designed around aerodynamics, weapons, engines. The F-22 was designed around radar invisibility. Engineers had to align edges at precise angles, hide engine fan blades, eliminate right angles, shape the fuselage so radar waves scattered instead of reflecting. Every curve, panel, and seam mattered. Internal weapons bays. External weapons increase radar signature. So the F-22 was designed with internal bays that could open briefly, launch missiles, then close again, keeping the aircraft stealthy. Engines with thrust vectoring. To achieve extreme maneuverability. Pratt & Whitney developed the F-119 PW-100 engine. Exhaust nozzles could move up and down. This allowed the aircraft to turn aggressively even at low speeds. This technology allowed moves impossible for older fighters. The prototype competition, 1990 to 1991. First flights. YF-22 first flight, September 29, 1990. YF-23 first flight, August 27, 1990. Both aircraft shocked observers. The YF-23 was faster, possibly stealthier, more futuristic in shape. The YF-22 was more maneuverable, more adaptable to future upgrades, considered better for dogfighting. The decision, 1991. After months of evaluation, the U.S. Air Force made its choice. In April 1991, the USAF selected the YF-22. Reasons included better close combat agility, lower technical risk, easier maintenance, better growth potential. The Cold War was ending, but the Air Force believed air dominance was still essential. From prototype to real aircraft, 1991 to 1997. Winning the competition was only the beginning. Now came the hardest part. Turning a prototype into a combat-ready aircraft. Challenges faced. Software complexity, millions of lines of code. Stealth coatings that were fragile and expensive. Rising costs after the Cold War. Political pressure to cancel the program. Congress repeatedly questioned. Do we still need this? Why does it cost so much? Despite cuts, the program survived. The birth of the F-22 Raptor, 1997. First production flight. Date, September 7, 1997. Location, Marietta, Georgia. Pilot, Paul Metz. The aircraft flew for 58 minutes. It performed flawlessly. This was no longer the YF-22 prototype. This was the F-22 Raptor, named after a fast, deadly bird of prey. The name symbolized speed, precision, silent lethality. The birth of the F-22 Raptor, 1997. First production flight. Date, September 7, 1997. Location, Marietta, Georgia. Pilot, Paul Metz. The aircraft flew for 58 minutes. It performed flawlessly. This was no longer the YF-22 prototype. This was the F-22 Raptor, named after a fast, deadly bird of prey. The name symbolized speed, precision, silent lethality. Why the F-22 was different from everything before. By the late 1990s, the F-22 was already years ahead of any aircraft on Earth. It combined stealth, supercruise, sensor fusion, extreme maneuverability, pilot-centric design. Other fighters might excel in one or two areas. The F-22 excelled in all of them at once.